Ladies, gentlemen, I don't know about you, but honestly, this is my favorite time of the year because I get to sit down with the actors whose performances, whose work I've most enjoyed, and I get to sit down and talk to you all. So thank you for those incredible performances and welcome to the Actors Roundtable 2022.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You know, I want to start with a question that I want all of you to weigh in on. In each of your respective shows or films, what was that one scene that you performed that reminded you why you love what you do?
I think for me it's easy. The whole climax of Badai Do. The last 20 minutes. Because for me that was the most important and the most responsible part for Shardul. Because that would have decided where the film would go. And for me that was beautiful. I think the way Harsh, that day on set, the way Harsh has created the whole environment on set, everybody was just so quiet because we just wanted to achieve it right. And it was just one take, not much. And I'm just so happy. Just without, I didn't even see my take on the monitor. Just, you know as an actor that, something happened.
Right.
I was there. I was truly there. I think, that's
This is the pride scene?
No, the pride just before the pride scene, the terrace scene and the way, the phone call, the day when he comes out in front of the family.
Yeah. Oh gosh, hard. Yeah. Oh, lovely. दलजीत पाजी?
जोगी फिल्म मेरे लिए एक फिल्म नहीं थी, वो सिख जेनोसाइड पे एक स्टेटमेंट थी जिसको अभी तक दंगे या सिर्फ राइट्स ही कहा गया है. तो एक ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म पे नेटफ्लिक्स पे ये बात कही जा रही थी जो अली अब्बास ज़फ़र डायरेक्ट कर रहे थे और ये सिख जेनोसाइड के बारे में बात हो रही थी, चाहे 1% ही बात हो रही थी. तो मेरे लिए ये इस मूवी का पार्ट बनना इसलिए बहुत ज़रूरी था और मेरे लिए बहुत अहम थी ये फिल्म, क्योंकि ये जहाँ से मैं आता हूँ ये वहाँ की बात करती थी.
बिल्कुल.
तो इसलिए मैंने वो फिल्म की थी.
पाजी, एक कोई ऐसी सीन थी जो शायद दूसरे सीन्स या दूसरे पोर्शन से ज़्यादा आपके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा मायने रखी थी?
जी, एक बाल काटने का सीन था उसमें, तो वो मेरे लिए बिना टर्बन के फिल्म करना ये भी एक चैलेंज था. मुझे ऐसा पता नहीं था कि कोई एक्सेप्ट करेगा उसको कि नहीं करेगा, लेकिन ऐसा एक्चुअल में हुआ है. ये कोई मिथ नहीं, ऐसे कोई कहानी बनाई हुई नहीं थी, ये सच्ची बात थी. बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं जो अभी तक जिनको ना तो इंसाफ मिला है और उनकी लाइफ अभी भी डिस्टर्ब है और अपनों को खो दिया गया है और इसके बारे में बात कम हुई है. तो वो सीन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सीन था और वैसा हुआ है, तो मेरे लिए वो भी टफ था.
और वो सीन बहुत बहुत दर्द का सीन है जब वो and he does it for his family, he does it because he's making that sacrifice.
जी.
बढ़िया सीन थी.
थैंक यू.
तिलोत्तमा?
Delhi crime ना?
I
just want to make sure.
किस्सा के बारे में बात करो.
Actually, in Delhi crime, because my character is on the wrong side of things, I love playing the scene where she comes into this place that she's going to create her salon. Yeah. And because we have such a simplistic look in life generally that these people are good, these people are bad. ये अच्छे लोग हैं, ये criminals हैं. But आदमी criminal कैसे बनता है? What makes him? What pushes him there? So I love the scene where she comes out like any other woman, walks into this space and imagines her future, where she's cutting hair and it's her space and she has a dream. I love that scene because I feel in that moment, you see that yes, she's a criminal and she's done things that are wrong, but like all of us, like any one of us, she has dreams. And that felt very nice because I knew that my character is going to go on to do horrible, gruesome things.
Right.
And it was nice to have that moment of her as just the dreamer, as like any other. Yeah.
Sure.
I kind of second what Tilottama just said. To be able to play a person who is very unlikable, take that chance and risk and put yourself out there because you believe in the story. For me, Darlings spoke about domestic abuse, spoke about a terrible marriage, and to see a woman suffer like that, and as an actor to put yourself out there, honestly, truthfully, knowing that this can trigger a lot of people. Actually, a lot of women got triggered, and things from their life erupted and they went through major emotional crisis while watching the film, including myself and Chef. When we first saw the film, it was difficult to watch. But when you tell these stories, it's important that it's spoken.
Yeah.
इसके बारे में बात होनी जरूरी है. जैसे दिलजीत भाई ने बोला अभी कि इन मुद्दों के बारे में बात होना बहुत जरूरी होता है. और उस बात में आपका अगर योगदान होता है तो एज एन एक्टर यू फील दैट यू आर डूइंग द राइट थिंग.
Right. Was there a specific scene, Vijay?
It was a nightmare all along.
Yeah.
But I remember there was one scene in which I come back. I found out that she's probably cheating on me with Zulfi's character, Roshan, played by brilliant Roshan Matthews. I come back. Hamza is very angry. He's looking for her inside the house, and that entire conversation where he's like, I gave you all the freedom. I don't make...
Well, she's in the kitchen. She's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
She goes
She's
and
hiding in
hides
the bathroom. And he's thinking कि इन दोनों का affair चल रहा है. And we had to improvise a bit because there were dialogues written, but both me, Alia and Jasmeet, we actually sat down on the floor and we like, how do we make this more organic? And what came out was series of dialogues an exchange which, when I finished it, I remember it said that कि मैंने तुमको आज़ादी दी, मैं तुमको बुर्का पहनने के लिए नहीं बोलता हूँ, मैं इतना प्रोग्रेसिव हूँ और ये है, उसके बाद भी तुम ये सब कामा सुथरा कर रही हो, ये सब चल रहा है. But the exchange became so real that me and Alia completely lost ourselves in that moment. And when that cut happened, we just figured that we've achieved the moment, which is rare, which happens very few times, in a film. And you're lucky if you can tap onto it sometimes. So I knew that we had a moment. I remember when we had a moment in Gully Boy. So those moments are very precious for me as an actor.
So, Tyre?
Oh wow, we're doing opposite ends. For me, it was the climax of Ye Kali Kali Aankhein because there's a scene where my character Vikrant is teaching himself through the episodes of how to fake cry. And in the end, he's got to go and confess to a very powerful politician that he's killed his daughter. But the brief from the director is you're teaching yourself how to fake cry, but you have to do it in such a way that you haven't completely learnt. So fake cry, but do it badly. Say something, but don't actually mean it.
Right.
And this is the climax of an 8-episode series, but we're shooting it on day 4 of the show.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I've got Saurabh Shukla and Brijinder Kala, like veteran stage actors over there. And for me, powerful performances are where there are no words.
Yeah.
And there were no words in this. You just walk into a room thinking something, saying something else, and fake crying, and it was just a mix of everything. And yeah, so that I stepped out off set saying, this is why I do what I do.
Oh, lovely. Shefali?
So there are a lot of scenes from Telecrime. But now, I'm glad you came to me a little later because I was thinking of what scene.
And which season?
Which scene?
Or Darlings, if you like, whatever.
Yeah,
No,
darling.
Telecrime.
Oh, whichever
I'm
film.
sorry. In DC2, there's a sequence where you see Vartika getting ready in front of the mirror. And I've waited very long in my career to actually figure why. I mean, you keep questioning yourself when you're only waiting. Why am I even doing this? But when I stepped into her shoes again and I see that scene, and it's just like, that's why I'm doing this.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of pride.
Sure.
And finally, after years, I mean, what I love doing is out there and it's getting equal reciprocation from people. So, yeah, that is...
How lovely. How lovely. Jyoti?
I think for me also it's difficult to pick one scene because I loved being Kala right from the beginning till the end of the film. But if I still have to pick one scene, it has to be that delirium sequence where she sees her whole life play out in front of her. And, Anvita's brief to me was that I don't want her to be there. I mean, you're there, but I want you to have an out-of-body experience. And I was like, how am I going to do that? How does that happen? And then we had Ashley Lobo sir, who's a very famous acting coach, and we had workshops with him. And that guy is like pure magic. Like he says something to you and you actually have that kind of an experience. So, obviously when you shoot, you're shooting for 16, 17 hours. You can't feel like that for those many hours. But there were times where I was not aware of my body, where I was like, I don't know where I am, I don't know what this is, I'm just moving with people. And that just felt so special, and yeah, that particular scene.
That's a terrific scene, actually. Karthik?
मेरा फेवरेट सीन तो एडिट ही हो गया था
वो हमेशा होता है.
तो भूल भुलैया में ऐसा हुआ था
उसके बारे में लोग बात कैसे समझाओ
बात ही नहीं होती तो बट मैं सेकंड टू दैट आई थिंक द क्लाइमैक्स ऑफ भूल भुलैया उसमें देयर वर अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आई हैड टू आई डोंट नो वो मेक बिलीव कराना था कि मंजलिका की आत्मा इस बंदे के रूह बाबा के अंदर आ गई है एंड द बंगाली एक्सेंट एंड द एंटायर डायलॉग्स उस टाइम जब हमने परफॉर्म सबने किया था या उसको शूट किया था सो इट वाज मोस्टली इन बंगाली सो फॉर मी टू डू दैट वाज अगेन मैं हिंदी में तो वो कर सकता हूँ इम्प्रोवाइजेशन और ये सब वो बंगाली में फिर यू गेट स्टक तो बट देन व्हेन उसका जब फाइनल रिजल्ट या आउटकम आया एंड द वे इट साउंडेड एंड द वे जिसकी वजह से वो एक पोर्ट्रेयल ऑफ द सुपर पावर जो भी वो पूरा हुआ I was so happy to see the reaction of the audience and everybody just getting so entertained and especially not just the adults or you know the kids it's वो हर generation के सब लोगों ने उसको enjoy किया and I was just fulfilled because मैं अपने आप को I mean all of us I think we believe that we are entertainers in some way or the you know and I feel that वो मोमेंट मेरे लिए बहुत एंटरटेनिंग था बिकॉज आई हैड टू डू अमीजे तुमार ऑल्सो उसमें भी परफॉर्मेंस था देयर वाज डांस देयर वाज डिफरेंट एक्सेंट देयर वाज ऑफ कोर्स परफॉर्मिंग ऑल दोस थिंग्स टुगेदर सो फॉर मी दैट वाज द सीन और जो एडिट हुआ वो मेरे एक डैड के साथ सीन था जो इमोशनल सीन था मेरे डैड का पूरा पोर्शन ही कट हो गया एक्चुअली
बेचारा डैड.
आई डिडंट हैव एनी डैड
क्रेडिट में है उनका नाम
मेरे अपने आप वो क्या कॉमेडी फिल्म दे चलो बाद में बात करें
To all of you, is acting fun or is it hard work?
I think it's a mix of both.
yeah
At times, I mean, when you do it well, then you start having fun with it. But जब तक crack नहीं होता ना, till then it feels very difficult. Till then you're like, how do I crack this character? And I feel, and that is something that worked for me. I believe in doing a lot of workshops. Without workshops, if I go on set, then I won't be good. That's what I feel about my.
I think acting is fun, but careers are hard work, man.
What?
Yeah,
Shiva.
What is
you hit it on the spot. I mean, Tripti and I were talking earlier, and we were like,
Yeah.
What is hard work?
Careers.
making
Yeah,
careers
Yeah.
and I think everyone here will agree. Acting is amazing. It's like meditative. It's why you do what you do. It's everything that goes around it to make sure that happens. That makes it hard work.
I think hard work is fun, right?
Oh, next level.
Yeah.
Raj being Raj.
No, seriously. Like,
मेहनत करो
Says Raj.
no, mehnat karo, of course. Like for me, there are parts which are a lot of fun to do, like Stree or a Bareli Ki Barfi, which I know, or Ludo. You know, it's all about going and really enjoying with your lines and with your co-actor and then improvising. That's fun. That's a lot of fun to do and to see the reaction as well. But when it's a lot of hard work, you do a film like Shahid or a Trapped. For me, that's more fun, where you know you know that you'll achieve something as an actor which you're looking for. There will be some growth after this film, after working with this fine filmmaker and on this subject. So for me, hard work is a lot of fun. I feel the more I work hard on a character, I feel more satisfied as an actor. You know, at least I gave my everything to this part,
Right.
and not just took it lightly. You know, yeah, ho jayega na.
I think if it wasn't fun, why do it?
Yeah.
And why do it for so many years?
Correct.
This is 22 years since I did my first film. Wow. And the hard part is me not getting in the way of it. Because whenever I have felt low, whenever I have stumbled, it's because I've compared myself to others. I have become restless with the weight. I have thought that I should be doing much more, I'm getting much less. These things. My mom got diagnosed of cancer 3 years ago, and all that went out of the window.
Yeah.
And all I was left with is, what do I love doing? I must do just that. I love spending time with my family. I will never let my work come in the way of spending time with my family. And I will give my 100% to work as well. I'll do what I really love. Who I work with is has to be people I love,
Yeah.
even if they are not commercially huge names. Because those 20 years I spent thinking that I have to tick the marks or work with the right people, position myself, maybe I shouldn't do so many indie films. After my mum, all that has changed, Rajeev. So now the hard work is purely in building, representing those women that I'm playing. Like, I feel like I am their lawyer and I have to protect them. Whether they're, good women, bad women, whatever.
Right.
My only job is to protect their lives so that when people watch her, they can see her humanity. Because the world is so hard, life is hard, so that, I think it's now I can say that because I haven't put that pressure on myself to get anywhere, to arrive anywhere, to be on the cover of nothing, that I can now really feel that it is just pure fun,
Right. Right. What a lovely way to look at it. Yeah. Anyone else wants to add to this?
I think everybody has gone through something like
Yeah.
this in life. I have gone through it post Laila Majnu, 2 years when there was no work and everybody was like, don't do this, don't do that. So many advices were coming my way and I was like, I am so confused. I don't know what to do next. And you do, at that point in time, you lose a sense of yourself. You start comparing yourself to others. You start complaining. But I feel now I've come to a point where I feel like, if I'm not comfortable doing something, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sell myself. I am just, if I'm getting something and if it's good, if I like it, then only I'll do it. Otherwise, I feel it's so important to have good experience while working. This is something that we love doing. And if you're going on set and not having a good experience, then what's the point?
Sure.
So I think for me now, experience is what matters than anything else.
It's not easy for me because every time I go in front of the camera, I'm like, I don't know what to do, where to start from.
Wow.
So it's not easy, but I just love it. I mean, I'm the happiest on set. I love it so much.
I can be a testimonial to that. I work with her. She's beaming
Yeah,
with joy every time
that's
she's
true,
on
me
set.
too.
She's excited
That's where she
about
belongs.
every single day.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment. It's incredible.
And that makes such a difference.
Yeah, it
on
makes
being
all the
on
difference.
set. You don't
A happy
want
set
to be with...
is probably
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
happy
Right?
bunch of people on the set is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And that
but-
energy really, it reciprocates.
Yeah.
I think you look like you have a lot of
translates
fun.
on screen.
You look like it's fun for you.
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इसके अलावा मेरे लिए ना हॉलीडेज है ना मेरे लिए कुछ और है मुझे लगता है सेट ही मेरा पूरा एक जगह है जहाँ पे मैं काम करता हूँ एक जगह है जहाँ पे मैं हॉलीडे करता हूँ एक जगह सो इट्स आई डोंट नो आई जस्ट हैव फन व्हाइल डूइंग दिस एंड आई जस्ट enjoy learning and thankfully पिछले कुछ टाइम से now I'm getting those chances to actually collaborate with a lot of big directors and directors who can actually work and help me with my craft also. So I'm just so like a child. I'm just learning everything. It's a new day for me every day, and I'm just happy and I'm just lucky to be where I am right now. And I just have no regrets and failures or success. So it's all my decision. So I'm just happy with the way my life has just carved, and I just wanted to continue and maybe flourish even more.
Yeah, that's what. That's that. Yeah.
That's what. Rajeev, because you
Sorry. No.
Please, bolo.
because you used the word hard in your question,
Yeah.
and just to echo what Raj was saying earlier, I think anything that's worth it is never going to be easy.
Sure.
Anything that's easy is not really worth it. I sort of go by that. The joy of watching something that you've done to remember that actually I'd slept only 3 hours the previous night. It was 48 degrees and we still managed to pull that off. That's a different kick every time.
Yeah, so pushing your boundaries.
Yeah.
मेरे लिए
एक्टिंग मेहनत है बहुत ज्यादा मेहनत है या मजा है
मजा ही कह सकते हैं जी क्योंकि मैं एक्टर ऐसे मेरा करियर मैं अपने आप को एक्टर नहीं देखता
जी, आप बोलते
ये बहुत बड़े एक्टर बैठे हैं मैं अपना थैंक यू
बहुत बड़े परफॉर्मर हैं
तो थैंक यू आपने मुझे बुलाया सर इस इतने कमाल के एक्टर्स के साथ तो मेरे लिए तो मतलब ये होता है कि यार ये लोग मतलब सच में मेरे को चाहते हैं कि मैं एक्टिंग करूं तो मैं ऐसे करता रहता हूं एंजॉय के लिए बट मेरे लिए ऐसा कुछ ऐसा हार्ड नहीं होता क्योंकि अगर तो आपको किसी चीज का पता हो
जी
तो आप उस चीज़ पे वर्क करते हो, और अगर नहीं पता हो तो फिर आप एंजॉय कर सकते हो। तो मैं एंजॉय
पर
करता
आपके परफॉर्मेंसेस इतने नेचुरल हैं, शायद इसलिए इट डजंट फील लाइक हार्ड वर्क.
हूँ। हाँ जी, ठीक है।
And he's so full of joy.
Yeah.
He's so full of joy. Like,
अरे पाजी का इंस्टाग्राम बहुत फनी है.
That's true.
वो वीडियोस ये बनाते हैं.
तो पहला प्यार म्यूजिक.
हाँ जी, 100% म्यूजिक, साउंड, म्यूजिक, ये तो मतलब आप लोगों के साथ बैठा हूँ
नहीं
बड़ी
पहले इनको बोला था पाजी मेरे को टिकट चाहिए, आपका सोल्ड आउट जा रहा है.
पता नहीं क्यों मुझे बहुत awkward लग रहा है यार.
नहीं सच में आप बड़े, मैंने आप सबका काम देखा है, तो मतलब मैं आपके फेस देखता हूँ तो मुझे ना वो नेटफ्लिक्स पे ऐसी चीजें वो सब दिखने लगती हैं. स्त्री देखी है, पाजी की भूल-भुलैया देखी है,
पाजी,
इनकी
आपकी
किस्सा देखी है.
performances, आपकी परफॉर्मेंस उड़ता पंजाब.
उड़ता पंजाब
हाँ,
यही किल
next
गया.
level.
ये मतलब जब रणबीर सिंह के पीछे से आ रहे हैं, मतलब वो सब चीजें मेरे लिए सपना है यहाँ बैठ.
but you can sing and act and perform live. Like, that's my
Thank you.
God.
Thank you, thank you.
What a gift.
You know, when you get a script, जब आपके पास script आती है, do you ever get scared that I won't be able to deliver?
Always.
I make sure I pick those scripts
That's-
as often as I can. It's not possible to get those kind of scripts very easily because you sometimes have to fill in those few months that you have.
Fact.
And nothing exciting is around, nothing challenging is around. But when you pick that up, and those 2 months, 3 months before you start filming, is when you're like, मैं शायद हक दूंगा. Then you are scared. डर लगता है, नींद नहीं आती. आधी रात को उठ के एक थॉट आता है, फिर आप लिखना शुरू करते हो, कुछ याद आता है, किसी की फोटो खींच के रेफरेंस निकालते हो, कोई गाना सुन के कुछ उसके बारे में सोचते हो. वो जो पागलपन होता है वो मुझे बहुत पसंद है. तो I also, because I've taken some chances and risks and they turn out to be so satisfying as an experience, I'm more inclined towards making more now.
I think जितनी भी स्क्रिप्ट्स मैंने भी आज तक पढ़ी हैं, फर्स्ट टाइम व्हेन आई रीड इट आई फील लाइक अरे नहीं हो पाएगा. दैट्स एग्जैक्टली व्हाट आई फेल्ट व्हेन आई रेड कला. इट्स सच अ कॉम्प्लेक्स कैरेक्टर. Anvita strangely was showing a lot of confidence and I was like मुझे नहीं पता ये कैसे होना है. And then फिर हम जब बैठे स्क्रिप्ट पे 2 महीने तक we were just talking about it, talking about the world, talking about her, and then even then I didn't have the confidence. Even then I was like बातें तो कर ली है but set पे पता नहीं होगा कि नहीं होगा. It's only when I get into costume, when you get on set, is when you know, start feeling a little confident and start feeling, acha, theek hai, now it's going somewhere. But yeah, every character I feel makes you a little scared.
It's like a relationship, no? It's like when you start a relationship. When
Yeah, initially it's
initially interested in the guy, then you're like, let's see, what he's about.
That's a good analogy.
Right? It's like slowly you fall in love. There's fear. What if this breaks your heart? You know, and what if you don't. So that excitement, I think that agony and ecstasy of love that you feel when you're in love, there's those highs. And if it's really a challenging script and the filmmaker really knows their material, I often find that writer-directors have a different relationship with their material.
Yeah.
And the way they can push an actor and then that love affair kind of starts. And that has a bit of both, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karthik, no?
डर
Raj? हाँ,
लगता है, हर बार लगता है. आई थिंक मुझे तो बहुत बार लगता है कि ये कुछ गड़बड़ ना हो जाए यहाँ पे. ऊपर से मैं कई बार ये अभी आई डोंट नो हाउ टू पुट इट करेक्टली, बट कई बार ये एस्पेक्ट भी देखता हूँ कि कंटेंट और कमर्शियल सिनेमा का कितना मिक्स हो रहा है ये फिल्मों में, ताकि अभी हम नेटफ्लिक्स पे बैठे हैं तो मैं थिएटर्स की बात कर सकता हूँ. बिल्कुल कर सकता हूँ.
सिंगल स्क्रीन की बात.
तो वो भी देखना इम्पोर्टेंट हो जाता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल धमाका में मुझे ये लगा था, क्योंकि हमारे पास उस टाइम और राम माधवानी सर जिस तरीके के वो डायरेक्टर है, उनका सब प्लानिंग इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग रहता है, तो मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि मैं कुछ गड़बड़ ना कर दूं. बिकॉज मुझे लग रहा था मैं ही उसमें एक वीक लिंक हूँ, बाकी सब मतलब सब लेजेंडरी लोग हैं. एंड वी शॉट दैट फिल्म इन लाइक 9 days. तो वो कंप्लीट फिल्म 9 days में एक जगह पे वो
My God.
9 days में
9 days.
Wow.
360 डिग्री कैमरा में ऐसे जैसे अभी इंटरव्यू कर रहे हैं वैसे ही वो सेटअप में पूरी फिल्म हुई थी.
Are you talking about आपके पोर्शन या पूरी फिल्म?
पूरी फिल्म एग्जैक्ट 9 days में खत्म हुई थी.
They created a bubble, no?
They created a bubble that was one of the few films जो उस टाइम आइसोलेशन के टाइम पे जब सब लोग हमें घर पे थे हम लोग, तो तब वो प्लान की गई थी और वो ऐसे प्लान की थी कि यू नो आई पर्सनली डिडंट नो कि व्हाट्स द वे फॉरवर्ड एंड आई डोंट थिंक सो किसी को भी पता था उस टाइम. वी वर जस्ट फिगरिंग आउट स्टफ मे बी ऑन सोशल मीडिया, मे बी कि अच्छा OTT फिल्म्स भी हम नेटफ्लिक्स फिल्म्स भी कैसे करें या फिर हम थिएटर्स में भी कैसे करें काम. सो दिस वाज द आइडिया जिसमें एक ये था कि आइसोलेशन में एक फिल्म करते हैं एंड वही होटल को पूरा कॉर्डन ऑफ करके वहाँ पे जितने लोग रहे थे तो वो 10 दिन के लिए 16 दिन के लिए हम वहाँ पे थे. उन 9 दिनों में वो शूट की गई एंड और मतलब 10-10 12-12 पेज एक बार में चलता था एंड इट वाज जस्ट, तो वो अलग तरीके का एक फिल्मिंग था जिसमें मैं बहुत डरा हुआ था उस टाइम कि ये कैसे होगा, क्योंकि मोनोलॉग्स मैंने किए हैं मतलब वो सब, बट ये तो मतलब चले ही जा रहा है, रोज के मोनोलॉग्स हैं, एक दिन का नहीं है. तो वो डिफिकल्ट था. बट ऐसी फिल्म्स में बहुत ऐसा डर लगता है. भूल भुलैया में भी फॉर एग्जांपल ऐसा डर था कि अच्छा कमर्शियल सक्सेस उसकी
Correct.
कितनी
Also,
बड़ी
you're playing at a different pitch, no? In a film like Bhul Bhulaiya.
पिच ही पूरी अलग थी. मैंने उस तरीके की कॉमेडी है, उस तरीके की सोनू टीटू की जोन बहुत अलग है फ्रॉम अ भूल भुलैया, उसका पिच बहुत अलग है.
Right.
So but I was really happy and I was really blessed to have a director like Anis Bazmi sir and the entire team again with the writers, the kind of writing they did which was for the families and so yeah, तो वो balance हो जाता है. I think it's always like how तिलोत्तमा इन्होंने बोला कि वो relationship एक होता है writers और directors का, उनके साथ जो तालमेल बैठता है, I think that's what takes you forward.
Raj?
Well, yeah, I think you get scared every time.
Even
when
you?
read a script. Yeah, of course. I'm the most nervous a night before we start filming.
Yes.
Kal subah shoot and like especially if it's it's one of those films. I get very nervous and it takes. I think as an actor, it takes you 2-3 days to. For me, it takes me around 2 days, 3 days to figure out. Okay, this is the voice of my character. This is who he is. Because I'm like, of course, you do your prep and everything, but by the time you do it practically, you don't really figure out. As they say, acting is to do.
Yeah.
You have to do it to figure out things. But I get pretty nervous every time. But it's nice. I love. I think the more scared you are, I think it's good. You'll push yourself.
It's a good energy.
Yeah, it's a good energy.
Exactly. I think डरना बहुत जरूरी है. Otherwise,
You
how
tend to
will you
do more.
improve? You
Yeah.
keep on doing the same thing, then there's no scope of improvement only.
Excitement भी उसी बात का है.
Yeah, I think fear is the indicator that something's going right.
Yeah.
Because if not, then you're complacent.
Yeah, but the right kind of fear. Not that fear, right?
I mean, I
Not
dare
like,
get
oh my
a
God,
bathroom
this
में
actor's
चुप
crazy, I better, like,
Yeah.
you know, और वो माता चढ़ गई वाली acting, पर सच का थप्पड़ मार दिया.
नहीं,
No, not that kind of
that's
fear.
toxic fear.
हाँ, not toxic fear.
And because you
That's real fear.
that's real fear.
That doesn't help us.
Yeah.
Paji, Shefali?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
But when I read a script, my first reaction is either I fall in love with it or I'm sorry, I'm not a part of it. And then it strikes me कि हाँ तो बोल दिया, अब करेंगे कैसे? You know, so that is every day when I go to set. Every single day.
Wow. Paji?
नहीं मुझे डर नहीं लगता जी. हाँ जी.
एकदम लगता है ये कर पाऊंगा मैं.
यही है ना.
हाँ जी मतलब या तो जो मुझे अच्छा लगता है वो करता हूँ या कोई दोस्त यार जानता होता है कि इसकी फिल्म करनी है तो वो कर देते हैं.
जी.
तो ऐसे कोई तलवार नहीं है कि ये तुम्हें ये करना है तो
Right.
फिर डर की तो वहाँ गुंजाइश रहती नहीं.
That's why there's an ease in him.
Yeah.
na?
That's
Like
true.
when you- Such an ease.
There's just such a yeah. So how many pages into a script do you kind of know whether this is something for me or not? Or this is something I'm going to do or not? How many pages does it take to kind of figure out how you feel about it?
I give it a chance. I give the entire script a chance.
Wow.
Yeah, because you know, it's not about how many lines you have or how
Correct.
many scenes you have. Neither the placement of it. I mean, you could probably come in the second half, in the last end of it.
Right.
But if it's a powerful role and it's pertinent to the subject, and I mean, so you never really know. Or maybe it's just उम्मीद कि शायद कभी
It'll
कुछ
get better.
आज it might get better. It might just surprise me. So I don't know how many pages it takes for me to realize whether I want to do it, but I think in the first 10-15 pages इतना समझ में आता है, okay, this one's not for me. So you know,
Yeah.
But you read it to the end, huh?
No, if I realize it's not for me, then I'll say sorry. Matlab, I don't understand it, and I won't be able to deliver my best.
Okay.
But yeah.
Vijay?
Pretty much like how chef's process is. But if it is not exciting, then you know it very early on.
Yeah.
कुछ तो एक गंदा सा डायलॉग रहेगा उसमें. कुछ तो एक ऐसे मतलब wannabe tendency कुछ भी पकड़ में आ जाता है वो. लिखा हुआ शब्द पकड़ में आ जाता है एकदम से. तो वो समझ में आ जाता है कि ये गड़बड़ जा रहा है. And then if the premise is interesting, then I go ahead. If the premise is also not exciting, then I'm like, beda gark.
हो गया.
Then I just. But if it is exciting, then I'm waiting for it to keep me. I'm like subconsciously, I'm really like wanting the script to keep pleasing me, like keep exciting me, because बहुत मुश्किल से ऐसी script आती है जो आपको लेके चलती है साथ में, आप घुसे रहते हो उसमें. You can't keep it aside. When that happens, it's the best day. Like I'm beaming for the next 2-3 days thinking about it, thoughts coming in my head, how to play this, how to make it happen. ये कैसे मैं ले जाऊँ ये film, सारा सब कुछ.
सबसे खराब जब लगता है जब बहुत अच्छा डायरेक्टर लगता है लेकिन स्क्रिप्ट बहुत खराब है. तो वो समझ नहीं आता कि उस सिचुएशन में क्या करो, क्योंकि
आपके साथ काम करने पर इस स्क्रिप्ट में
बट हाँ ये कैसे बोलो, वो बहुत बार होता है. तो बहुत बार मतलब कभी कभी होता है, लेकिन या आई मीन जब यू गेट टू नो कई बार ये भी होता है कि जो मेन हुक है या एंड तक आते आते एक ऐसा हुक होता है जो आपको बहुत पसंद है, लेकिन एंटायरली जब आप पढ़ रहे हो तब आपको समझ ही
एक्साइटमेंट नहीं है,
तो आप वहां पे भी फंसते हो. सो माई थिंग इज मैं पूरा ही रीड करता हूँ. मैं कभी भी ये ट्राई करता हूँ कि कोई भी अच्छी स्क्रिप्ट बड़ी मुश्किल से, जैसे विजय बोल रहा था कि बड़ी मुश्किल से अच्छी स्क्रिप्ट आती है और वो जाने नहीं दे सकते. तो वो एक वो रहता है कि यार इसमें सब कुछ पढ़ लिया ना, कुछ ऐसा गड़बड़ तो नहीं हुआ. सो एक वो टेंडेंसी रहती है. But you get to know with the language, you get to know with the premise, you get to know with the kind of characters जो हैं उसमें. So yeah. जल्दी पता लगने लगता है.
Raj?
I think I give it a go till say 25-30 pages. But there are times when you get to know on the second and third page only that this is not the kind of cinema I want to do or I want to be a part of. This is not my language. So like same what Shefali ma'am was saying, 30 pages, if you don't get it, then I don't want to waste my time and tell them, listen, I'm really not connecting with it at all, let's just pass it. And there are scripts which you, as you know, Karthik was saying, they're the makers who you really want to work with, you really look up to, but the script is not right up there. Then that's a very tricky situation. Now, how to handle that?
Yeah, how do they take it?
कई बार क्या होता है कि वो लगता है कि अच्छा वो संभाल लेंगे.
Either you trust them, and tell them very honestly कि listen, it's there, but it's not really up there.
But
so
it's awesome.
Can we do something about it?
Yeah. I think
But I'll give you an example. Like I read Monica's script, I loved it from the scene 1, like the whole robot thing, and I loved it. But when I saw the film, I think that's a maker's vision. What Vasan has done with that film, with that story, it's genius. I think the way he packaged the whole thing, the background music, the songs, the crisp editing, those high-speed shots, action, kung fu, I think it's all Vasan.
Yeah.
So sometimes a maker can, or the whole team can take the script from level A to right up there. Yeah.
Anyone else?
I think
See, Rajeev, I've been waiting for so long. In those 20 years, easily 10 years. I would do one film, wait for 2 years, 3 years. So when a script would come to me, I will read it, even if I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'll finish reading it. Because मुझे लगता है कि आपने प्यार से मुझे दिया है, मेरा इतना फर्ज तो बनता है कि मैं पढ़ लूँ इसे. और इतनी ह्यूमिलिटी होनी चाहिए, मुझे लगता है, क्योंकि मैंने अपने आप कुछ लिखा नहीं है. लिखना इतना आसान नहीं है. इसीलिए जब अच्छी स्क्रिप्ट आती है, you are not going to let it go.
Right.
But I have always read. And I've learned so much how not to write, what is not interesting, that you can have a great premise, but if you're not going to get a good dialogue writer, you can't underestimate. Actors cannot do anything. It is not an actor's medium. Film is not an actor's medium. If the writer hasn't written it, we can't produce it, So it's definitely the script is my hero, But I always read it. Always read it, and I feel very happy. Even if I have to say no, I will like, भेजा तो मतलब इतने प्यार से भेजा तो इसका ये करना चाहिए.
So you were saying something.
Yeah, I was saying that for me, I think at this point, मुझे उतनी जल्दी समझ नहीं आता है. Like 30 pages into it, I don't think I am able to gauge it, whether this is a good story, whether the part is good for me. I have to go through the whole script. पूरी पढ़ने के बाद ही I can make a sense of ये character is good for me or not good for me, or whether it's challenging enough for me. और जो कि ये लोग बात कर रहे थे, मेरे साथ भी हुआ है. 2-3 बार बड़े बड़े लोगों को मना करना पड़ा है. And there's always that fear, you know, because I'm new also.
Yeah.
So at times people take it as me being rude or me being कि यार अभी तो नहीं आई है, बहुत attitude है इसमें, क्या अभी हमें मना कर रही है. But I think it's so important to say no to things you don't like, because you know it's एक फिल्म में सिर्फ एक्टर्स नहीं होते हैं. There are so many people involved in a project. There are more than 300 to 500 people who make a film. And if you being an actor, if you're not happy with what you're doing, and if you go there with, you know, half-heartedly, you're not enjoying it, then the whole film suffers.
Right.
So it's important to take those decisions then and there, rather than making everybody else suffer.
Right. But
25 pages, the first act, is enough to know if it's not going well. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to read the full script. पर वो कहीं ना कहीं back of the mind पता होता है कि यार ये उस तरह नहीं जा रहा जो मैंने सोचा था. But by the end of it, if you feel that there's even something there, then like Raj and Karthik were saying, it always makes sense to meet the people to see कि इसका क्या कर सकते हो आप. And I have to be honest with ये काली काली आंखें that happened. On paper, that part was so out there in terms of dramatic and pulpy, and the way it was written, that I felt that anything I did with this is going to make it look too loud. So how are you going to treat it? And then when they run you through what the edit, the grade, the music, and all of that's going to be, it sort of convinces you to take that leap of faith.
sure. Pilot?
भाई पढ़ना मेरे लिए थोड़ा टफ है, इसलिए मैं
Narration मांगते हैं?
हाँ, जो सुन लेता हूँ या दोस्तों को दे देता हूँ, पढ़ इसको तो कई बार सही सलाह मिल जाती है, कई बार ऐसे भी हो जाता है. तो चलो भाई, सारा कुछ ही फन है.
जी.
तो मैं सुनने में ज्यादा मेरे को अच्छा लगता है.
Okay.
या फीलिंग कभी आया भी ठीक लग रहा है, चलो चक दो.
Instinct पर.
हाँ जी, हाँ.
And Rajeev, also when I started out, I got such smaller parts, right? And they would just send you the sides of the part, the
Right.
character. I was like, film क्या है? वो दो ना. मेरा part छोटा है पर film अच्छा होना चाहिए ना.
Correct.
Why should I be a small part of something which is average?
Yeah.
I'm happy to be a small part of something that's beautiful.
Right.
So for me, reading the whole thing has been very important. Whether it's like, even for Hindi medium, it was a cameo. But I want to know what is the world of the film.
Right. In context of.
In context, yeah.
Sure.
But there are times when I really trusted the makers, like when Motwani sir told me about Trapped.
Yeah.
He just told me in one line, this is a guy who's trapped in an apartment, no water, no food, no electricity. That's the film. And I'm a big Motwani fan,
Yeah.
so I said, we're doing it. Because as an actor, there's so much, there's so much that you can do, and I'm a big fan of survival dramas. Same with Shahid, when I met Halsa sir, he's like, this guy, this happened, that's the film. It's like, I'm doing it.
Right.
Because sometimes you feel that connect with the maker that, I'd really trust him blindly.
Right.
Like whatever he'll do, I would love to be a part of him. And the story is great, and rest I think he'll figure out.
Yeah.
He or she will figure out, yeah.
Paid off in both those instances.
Luckily, yeah.
Vijay, your character in Darlings, the alcoholic, abusive husband, Hamza, he's a really unlikable guy. And yet, it's such a mercurial performance that it's hard to take your eyes off the screen when he's up there. Do you ever worry that the audience might not like you when you're playing a nasty character?
The good thing is, at least in the echo chamber I am in, people around me and people who are probably on social media writing comments, or sometimes if I see a comment on YouTube or whatever, I can tell that these people can differentiate between the actor and the character.
Right.
Thankfully. We're no longer in the 80s. So I won't be Ranjit for the rest of my life.
Correct.
But having said that, did meet a couple of friends. And one of my friends, she said her mom went to some kitty party. And my name was being discussed on this big table, was elderly women playing cards. That guy is so bad. He's such a terrible guy. And this, my friend's mom is trying to defend me. Like, he's actually a good boy. My daughter works with him. He's like, no, he looks like he's that guy. So it's a perception that can probably live outside of my echo chamber. I have no reason to believe that people will not hate me outside of my work. But, I get to play these juicy parts and I'm not complaining.
Have any of you played a character that you don't like?
Omar Sheikh in Omerta.
Yeah.
I played a few of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Mardani
Vijay in
was-
Queen.
Sure.
Yeah, Mardani. Yeah. Queen's my cat in Queen, Vijay. LSD, Ragini MMS, so many, yeah.
But I think when you're in it, you can't afford to
Yeah.
not like what you're playing. You have to.
वो सारे
find
judgment,
something-
when you say
I was
yes,
gonna ask
you
you,
drop
yeah.
all those judgments and you get into prep and
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
and have fun with it.
So are you justifying his personality, his actions to be able to play him convincingly, to yourself at least?
Yeah,
No, but
in my mind, I'm justifying whatever Omar Sheikh is doing. I believe in what he believes in. I believe in his ideology.
For sure.
But,
Same with.
but only in that process.
Yeah.
Not before and after that.
Right.
I'm not able to do this, but what I'm able to do is I try to hold on to something that I resonate with. Like with Hamza, I found out that he is an alcoholic, he is an abusive person, he's not nice to anybody, everybody dislikes him and all these things, but he's very loyal to his wife.
Right.
He just comes back to his wife, he wants to eat the khana that she cooks. He wants to give her a good time, he wants to gift her. So these are some traits that you like in the character that, because script में तो लिखा है कि ये करेगा,
Correct.
ऐसे हरकतें. But you try to find traits that resonate with you
Right.
and work with them. In She, I play a character called Sasya, which is a very diabolical, very like crass, extremely obscene personality. It took me a long time to kind of break the inhibitions. It's just so embarrassing to be this person in front of 50 people every day.
Yeah.
It was deeply embarrassing to utter those
It's
words.
some really creepy lines. yes.
And look at my co-actor in a certain way, and I had to do all of it because I felt like that's the character.
Yeah.
That's how it will come alive, and that's how it will translate. But it was deeply embarrassing, and but part of my actor's job is to kind of break all the inhibitions
Yeah.
and surrender to the part and do whatever it takes, for you to at least psych yourself up in between action and cut, deliver. उसके बाद में तुम अपना तकिए के पीछे सर करके देख लो बाद में जब आएगा रिलीज पे.
Right. Shefali, one of the most charming scenes in
Shawl.
Darlings is the one where Zulfi makes that confession that his crush on Khala.
sweet.
And
मुझे तो
of course-
खाला cute लगती है.
And of course that leads, that's such a
हम
beautiful
सबको
moment.
खाला cute लगती है.
And then it leads to that unexpected moment where she grabs him and kisses him. It's just such a lovely scene. And I also want to say it's such an important scene actually, because so rarely have Hindi films allowed a middle-aged woman, let alone a widow, even be seen as someone who deserves a shot at romance. So what was your reaction when you read that in the script? Your first reaction when you read that?
It was completely unexpected. I didn't expect it at all. So when I read it, I was like, huh? And I think it's one of the, like you said, it is easily one of the most beautiful moments in the film.
Yeah.
It's like there are people who ask me that there should be a complete spin-off on
their-
Hala
on
and
their-
Zulfi.
correct.
Yeah. But it came out of nowhere. And that the credit has to go to Jasmeet and the writers.
Yeah. Tripti, in Kala, you play a playback singer in the 30s and 40s whose life spirals even as her star sort of rises. The only thing she's really seeking is that validation from her mother. It's such a brilliant, heartbreaking, fragile performance, so full of pain. Tripti, how did you prepare to get into the head of that woman? There's a lot of complex things going on in that head.
Yeah. So for this particular thing, I think Anvita and me just spoke about her for 2 months. We were just talking about what kind of person she is, and very little things like where does she sleep, what does she eat, what kind of food does she like,
Correct.
what is her room like, what is her, bed, what are her bed sheets like. So when you discuss these things about a character, the regular things, then.
Right.
I think that's when you get to know the character as well as you know yourself.
Right.
And this is something I think we did for Bulbul also. She, on the first day of workshop, asked me, what's your first memory as Tripti? And I remember talking to her about an incident that happened when I was 5 years old. So she's like, okay, where do you see yourself as Kala when you're 5 years old?
Right.
Let's talk about that. And from 5 to 10, then 10 to 15, then 15 to whatever age is there in the film, we built her experiences. We built her whole life around Kala. And that, when you do that, It's like you know the person in and out. It's like you know what she likes, what she's thinking, what's her relationship like with her mother. What does she think of her mother actually? You know, on screen it's different, but what is actually going on in her mind? So we were discussing her thoughts, and in Anvita's film there are hardly any lines for us.
true.
So there was very little scope for me to actually. But होता है ना, through dialogues you
Correct,
kind
you
of
explain.
sometimes
Yeah.
understand
There was not
and
a
explain
lot
what
of-
you're going
yeah.
through. But here there were no dialogues, and on this it was so funny because one day I told her let's do a reading because I think I know what kind of person she is, but I don't know whether मुझे अपनी वो dialogue delivery देखनी है.
Correct,
That's what I
correct.
told her, and she's like dialogue delivery देखनी है. अच्छा, let's read it. And my only dialogues in the film were, sorry, Mama. Okay, Mama. Thank you, Mama. She's like, now read the blank page. So the blank page was full of dialogues. And she's like, this is what I want you to say, but only through your eyes. This is what should be going on in your head when you're there when you're performing. Not what's written here, because you hardly have anything.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting to explore, very difficult as well. But yeah, that's how we went for it.
Karthik, you were very funny as Roo Baba in Bhool Bhulaiya 2. You delivered one of the biggest box office hits of the year. It's a blockbuster. It's also one of the films that's been credited with sort of reviving the box office, the industry, in a year that was a bad year for the business. It's made you one of the most bankable stars in the country. Does that come at a price, Karthik? Isn't there too much pressure to repeat that success? Does it limit the kind of films and roles that you can do going forward? Because now one only expects, the industry sort of expects that he needs to churn out the blockbusters.
आई थिंक मेरे लिए वो एक्सपेक्टेशन ऐसा डिफिकल्ट नहीं है कि सोचना कि अपने ऊपर प्रेशर डालना कि अच्छा अगला बॉक्स ऑफिस भी उतने लेवल पे आना चाहिए. आई थिंक व्हाट success of Bhool Bhulaiya did to me was that it gave me more and more opportunities. I think उसकी वजह से मेरे पास और ज़्यादा makers आ रहे हैं, scripts आ रही हैं. So and that's what happens. I think you give a successful film, आपके पास और ज़्यादा ऐसी scripts आती हैं और ज़्यादा अच्छे makers आप पे believe भी करते हैं.
Correct.
So that happened with the success of Bhool Bhulaiya 2. I think when we were actually promoting the film and when we had decided to come in theaters at that time, that was really a bad time.
Correct.
And nobody was actually, we were thinking that theaters में कोई जा ही नहीं रहा है यहाँ पे. So वो बहुत अजीब सा टाइम था और खुद जाके प्रमोट करना और लोगों को ऐसा लग रहा था कि प्लीज थिएटर्स आ जाओ, फिल्म देखने आ जाओ. आप भूल गए हो फिल्म देखना कि थिएटर्स में भी देखते हैं. So it felt like that sometimes but वो एक myth भी होता है जो क्रिएट हो जाता है कई बार. फिल्म्स नहीं चल रही हैं तो उनकी वजह से ये लगता है कि कुछ भी नहीं चलेगा. I'm glad that Bhool Bhulaiya did what it did, and to all of us, everyone from the cast and the entire crew, entire team, and I'm just I think my next film उसके बाद जो आ रही है वो फ्रेडी आई है. वो पूरी तरह से diametrically opposite है, पूरा character ही अलग है.
But that was signed before, Karthik. will you sign that kind
but
of
then
film?
there's a Shehzada also, yeah.
Right. Correct.
Which is a commercial masala film. But I think ये जो opportunities हैं या ये जो decisions हैं, ये सोच समझ के ही लिए मैंने कि not planned the release. I haven't planned that.
Right.
But it's happening on its own, and I think it's falling into place on its own, which is beautiful for me because एक तरफ ये रू बाबा का कैरेक्टर आ रहा है तो दूसरी तरफ ये this was another character जो आपका पिछला सवाल था फ्रेडी, जिससे मैं रियल में कनेक्ट नहीं करता हूँ.
Right.
वो एक वैसा कैरेक्टर है, but I had to again give those thoughts जहाँ पे विजय भी बोल रहा था नहीं मुझे उसको अपने दिमाग में एटलीस्ट प्रूव करना है कि वो जो कर रहा है वो सही कर रहा है. He has been wronged by the society, so that's why he is going to that extent.
Right.
And what
so to justify him to yourself.
justify him. So I didn't connect to him as a character कि मैं उस लेवल तक जाऊं कभी लाइफ में. So वो एक चीज़ है. But yeah, I mean it's not pressure नहीं है. I think यही सारी चीज़ें हैं जो हमें it takes us to another level, and I love it. I'm just waiting for my next release now, which is gonna be Shehzada.
Yeah.
And and I'm really looking forward to the next one after that, which is Kabir Khan sir's film. So it's all इतने अच्छे makers हैं, मुझे pressure नहीं लेना है.
Shahzada trailer looked pretty blockbuster.
Thank you, thank you.
Raj, your performance in Badhai Do as Shardul, this closeted cop who marries a lesbian, was one of the best performances this year, in my opinion. I think it's just, also I think that in today's times, to say it was a dignified representation, I think we should be able to take those things for granted. It was so authentic. Those are things really now we shouldn't have to hammer and say it was dignified, it was respectful. In 2022, we should expect to take that for granted. You know, that scene where he's drunk in the hotel room and he reveals his frustrations to Bhumi's character, saying, "You've heard of..." Raj, you should say it. I'm going to ruin it.
Robocop. I'm homocop.
It's one of the most incredible scenes this year. The writing, of course, has to be spot on. But Raj, what is the trick to doing a really poignant scene like that? It's actually a sad scene.
It is a sad scene.
And bringing this moment of sort of humor with such authenticity. I mean, can you talk about how you shot that scene, maybe?
I was drunk. So I
got
do that.
actually drunk.
For real?
Yeah. Oh. I don't drink in real life, but when I have to do a scene where I'm drunk, so I tend to drink.
But you don't forget your lines.
No. I tend to improvise a lot, actually.
It's उसको I think City Lights में भी तूने किया था. जो scene मेरे ख्याल से is probably he's so, it looked like he's drunk in this scene.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it, but I know.
The first thing I did was I got drunk, and of course I knew the character by then. Luckily we shot that scene pretty much in the latest schedule in Goa, in one of the hotels in Goa. And for me, the way I saw that scene was exactly how you said. This is the sour of his life. This is something which he has never told anyone. कि मुझे मिस्टर इंडिया बनना था, मेरे पापा थे, वो शहीद हो गए तो मुझे नौकरी में लगा दिया. He hasn't shared this to anyone, and he found a friend who he is married to. And of course, she is also not really interested, but she's sitting there because he's asked her to. But for me, this was his pain. He just wanted to blur it out in front of someone. He couldn't do this with anyone. So I just did that. I really didn't really think too much about it, that how I'm going to, and I don't do that, how am I going to perform it? Because once you understand the psyche of a character and you know where he is at this point in his life, it just happens.
Yeah.
Like none of us prepared how we're going to speak, because who we are, that's who we are. That's how we're going to react. So I think we just went for it. But for me, the more reason scene works is, again, Harsh's genius. The moment he falls on the ground and the camera track backs and you see how this guy, he's so alone in his life and he's so drunk. He just wanted to talk to someone. I think that made the scene for me. Rest, of course, dialogues were, it was brilliant writing and I did what I had to do. But I think it's again Harsh and his genius, the way it tracks back and the music starts. And that's where I feel like, 1 second, was I supposed to laugh in this scene? No, it was supposed to touch me, and it did towards the end.
Yeah. That it hits that note beautifully, actually. Yeah. पाजी, आपकी फिल्म जोगी कहानी है एक शख्स की, जोगी, जो तय कर लेता है कि मैं अपने परिवार और अपने नेबर्स को बचाऊंगा, उनको रेस्क्यू करूंगा, सेव करूंगा उन दिनों में जो जब एंटी सिख राइट्स दंगे चल रहे थे 1980 जेनोसाइड.
ये मतलब ये राइट्स और ये काफी लिखा गया है.
Correct,
और इसके बारे में ऐसा बोला गया है, तो हर एक के दिमाग में ये वैसे ही आ जाता है. राइट्स जब दो ग्रुप झगड़ते हैं आपस में तो राइट्स हो जाते हैं. लेकिन अगर आप किसी को निहत्थे किसी पे आप टारगेट करते हो, जेनोसाइड हो जाता है.
करेक्ट.
तो मेरे लिए ये फिल्म करना, ये बात, सॉरी आपका क्वेश्चन
नहीं आप बिल्कुल, जो एक्चुअली आपने मेरा, मैं क्या पूछने वाला था, एक तो बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग और हार्टफेल्ट परफॉर्मेंस है, पर आपने कहा है कि आप खुद 1984 में पैदा हुए थे. आप 90, तो आपके लिए ऑब्वियसली एक बहुत, और आप एज यू वर ग्रोइंग अप, आपने जाहिर है आपने अपने फैमिली वालों से, अपने दोस्तों से सुने किस्से उन दिनों के. क्या ये फिल्म करके, ये रोल करके, और आपने पहले भी एक पंजाबी फिल्म की है 1984 ऑन अ सिमिलर थीम, जो
पंजाब बेस्ड थी,
जो पंजाब बेस्ड फिल्म थी, ये दिल्ली में, ये स्टोरी दिल्ली में होती है. तो आपने पर ये इस इशू पर, इन इंसिडेंट्स पर जब आप फिल्म करते, क्या वो जो स्कार्स हैं वो थोड़े हील होते हैं, वो एड्रेस होते हैं जब आप उस स्टोरी को एड्रेस करते हो, या जब आप वो रोल प्ले कर रहे हो?
सिनेमा मुझे लगता है कि उस चीज़ को वैसे तो हील नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन चाहे वो 1% वो बात कर रहा है, तो लेकिन उस चीज़ पे बात हो रही है। लुधियाना में एक ऐसी अभी भी कॉलोनी है जहाँ पे जो सब दिल्ली से जो बचा के पहुँचे वो हमारे घर के पास ही है। तो मैं फिल्म रिलीज के बाद नहीं जा पाया, लेकिन उस कॉलोनी में से सब लोग इकट्ठे होकर मेरे घर पे आए सिर्फ थैंक्स करने के लिए कि ये बात हो रही है। उस चीज़ का इंसाफ तो नहीं मिला है और वो चीज़ भर भी नहीं सकती है, और सिनेमा कुछ एक हद तक बात कर सकता है। मेरे लिए था कि चाहे 1% वो चीज़ बात हो रही है, लेकिन जिन लोगों के साथ वो बीती है, बहुत सारे मेरे फ्रेंड्स हैं जो जानने वाले हैं, तो उनके दिलों में अंदर अभी भी पड़ा है और अभी भी ये दिमाग में है। मेरे साथ है अभी भी एक शख्स, उनके फादर ने ये बोला था कि यार अब हम ना पक्का घर बनाएंगे नहीं, कि पता नहीं है कब यहाँ से जाना पड़ेगा, कि अब पक्की छत नहीं करेंगे यार हम। तो जिस शख्स को ये लग रहा है कि यार मैं सेफ ही नहीं हूं, मैं कभी भी मुझे यहाँ से उठा के कहीं भी फेंक दिया जाएगा या मुझे अपनी जान बचाने के लिए भागना पड़ेगा, तो उस चीज़ को ऐसे आप सिनेमा से हील तो नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हाँ बात ज़रूर कर सकते क्योंकि इंसाफ तो नहीं मिला है सर।
एटलीस्ट उनकी वॉइस बन सकते हो आप।
हाँ जी, ये कह सकते हैं।
You know, to all of you, what makes you uncomfortable as an actor? Are there any lines that you just won't cross?
Roundtables.
Thank you very much.
I wish I could say that nothing's make me uncomfortable, but I think, like, I would say maybe like dancing.
हाँ, एक्टिंग तो बहुत चाहिए।
If somebody prompt to say कि or whatever इस गाने में आप भी आ जाओ डांस करने, I'm like नहीं यार प्रैक्टिस चाहिए होती है इसके लिए। और स्टेज पे कोई बोलता है कि can you just show us something, so that makes me a bit uncomfortable. But as an actor, I feel like late night shoots make me very uncomfortable. If it goes beyond 12-13 hours, then I'm very tired and I can't be my best self. The word OTT makes me very uncomfortable. I don't like the term. Because for actors it was a term that it was a term which was over the top, and now we just like keeps hearing it everywhere. I'm like, मैं subtle acting करता हूँ यार, OTT क्या?
Correct. हम OTT में कैसे पहुँचे थे?
True. I feel like
Those are a few things.
That was my mini rant.
पाजी सोचा आपने?
मैं बहुत सोचा जी, जोर मेरा जोर लग गया।
सोच ही रहे वही।
और सारा समझ नहीं आ रहा।
सवाल अनकंफर्टेबल हो गया।
कुछ ऐसे कोई he's such an easy person.
बड़ा जोर लाया मैं जी, बड़ा जोर लाया, कुछ बोल दूंगा गल, पर नहीं आया नहीं कोई दिमाग।
अच्छा, how lovely. Oh,
Lines. Yeah. Like when I have to say a lot of lines, I'm finished. I'm devastated. Because I'm terrible at memorizing. Because I feel it.
Right.
So if it is an emotional sequence, I understand it emotionally and the lines will fall into place.
Yeah.
But if it is technical information, I'm finished. And I just feel that, I mean, why say it when you can show it?
show it, right?
I've seen Mr. Bachchan deal with it so nicely.
Because he has a photographic memory.
Yeah, he's incredible. He'll spend 2 hours just rehearsing before.
He is incredible, period. Finished. That's...
And every information is there, correct, given out.
Anyone else?
I think night shoots मेरे मुझे बहुत uncomfortable होता है night shoots करना। Again वही
ये इजी था पाजी यार, ये इजी था, ये हो गया।
मैंने 4-5 दे दिए।
नया सोचा
सबके लिए
मुझे लगता है।
I love night shoots.
अच्छा मुझे वो
I love shoots and I love
You love night shoots?
I love.
I love night
function ही नहीं कर पाता।
I love night shoot
I
because
love
silence is.
night.
As long as there's coffee, I love night shoot.
मैं बिल्कुल
love it.
फंक्शन नहीं कर पाता, मैं नया सोच रहा हूँ।
पर शूट करेगा तो फंक्शन क्यों करेगा? Sorry.
थोड़ा
How are you guys with shooting intimacy and nudity?
Very
is that
very good,
Very
very
comfortable. All of you?
No, I've done a lot of it. It's just like I've come around. Like I'm
बहुत comfortable।
No, because very technical.
It is technical.
I'm genuinely.
As soon as you realize
Yeah.
technical,
Yeah.
you are comfortable.
Right.
Because you're not supposed to like feel
correct.
everything.
Yeah.
ऐसे
Have
कैसे
you shot with an intimacy coordinator?
Yeah, I have। Yeah.
An intimacy
That
coordinator,
is-
like there's a
Right,
choreographer
right.
पता नहीं मैं बोलना चाहूँ
just
कि
met-
नहीं, that is थोड़ा uncomfortable।
Met in
having someone there.
क्योंकि you don't know what's मतलब
Boundary, yeah.
what's a boundary.
क्या आया नवा?
कोई एक नया ये आया है, अजीब है थोड़ा लेकिन
Intimacy coordinator.
मैं ये सुनना चाहता हूँ, ये पंजाबी में
इंटीमेसी कोच होता है जो बताता है कि अगर एक फॉर एग्जांपल किसिंग सीक्वेंसेस है
अच्छा,
हो रहा है तो उसमें आप कितना किस करो कितना नहीं करो.
अच्छा.
इसमें ऐसा होता है कि एक्टर
तो एक्टर घबरा जाता है.
डायरेक्टर सबको पता होना चाहिए कि होने क्या वाला है, पहले से डिस्कस किया
ये
जाता
सच में होता है बंदा?
ये मैं भी अभी एक्सप्लोर किया.
No, but I.
मैंने भी शूट किया है, वो काफी
अभी हालांकि मतलब 2-3 साल
हेल्पफुल
से
भी होता
position
है
I think
पर थोड़ा सा एक
लिमिटिंग इसलिए हो सकता है बिकॉज यू मे बी एंड यू को एक्टर
Correct.
आर फीलिंग लाइक यू कैन गो
एंड
go to
वो
a place where it could be real
इट
or
कैन
whatever.
साउंड थोड़ा सा
And
अलग, हाँ.
now you're restricted because you're given instruction.
बट मैं ये नहीं बोलना चाह रहा था. मैं कुछ
Kissing makes him very uncomfortable.
हाँ ये ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. मैं बोल रहा था मुझे ये ब्रेकिंग द आइस आई थिंक समटाइम्स कई बार नए सेट पे जाना और नई टीम के साथ जब काम करते हो तो वो मुझसे वो पर्सनली वो मेरा प्रॉब्लम है. मैं शायद से ऐसे ज्यादा या तो मैसेज में बात नहीं कर पाता हूँ अपने डायरेक्टर्स के साथ, उनको फील गुड ऐसा नहीं करवा सकता या आई डोंट नो हाउ टू चिट चैट एंड बी दैट कंफर्टेबल पर्सन, मेक देम कंफर्टेबल एंड समटाइम्स वो ऐसा शायद से हो जाता है कि
Are
अरे
you shy करते?
नॉट एट ऑल बट शुरुआत में शायद
जी.
स्टार्ट में
getting to know.
to get when I know someone then I'm फिर तो extrovert ही हो जाता है.
शूट खत्म हो जाता है.
तब तक शायद देर हो जाती है बहुत. तो
Who's the most interesting person that you've met in showbiz and why?
Oh wow.
बताइए.
मेरा चांस क्यों है?
Jagu Dada, Jackie Shroff.
He was looking at you.
Jackie Shroff.
जगूदा जैकी श्रॉफ.
It's like his Diwali wish
Jackie
was
Shroff.
everything that I wanted. रॉकेट मत लगा, कुत्ते का ध्यान रख,
पौधा लगा.
पौधे लगा,
झाड़ लगा, झाड़.
साउंड मत कर ज्यादा, धुआं मत उड़ा.
This message he sent
He's
you.
so warm.
No, it's just that's his Diwali wish for everybody, and he's such a beautiful person.
Yeah.
He's so full of love.
Original rock star.
Effortlessly cool.
On
He
my
is,
birthday, he
Bandana
gave me a video call. He's in some sitting poolside,
doesn't
shirtless, and he's like, "Wow, बच्चा तेरा happy birthday तेरे को wish करने के लिए phone किया." Like, too cool. That's it.
So cute.
So awesome, that man. He's the most fun person I've met in Bollywood. Sorry, apart from all these people.
Of course.
I just recently met Tabu in flesh. And oh my God. Like, I have not been starstruck. You know, I remember I was a bartender in New York. I've met Danny DeVito. I've met like big stars, and they're really cool people. The
Yeah.
thing about a really great star is they
just
make you very
like-
comfortable,
Yeah.
and you don't feel like you're in the presence of something. Tabu, I think that's just, there's so much enigma in her. She's so enigmatic. And the fact that I can't read her, I found myself blushing in her presence. And her body of work. And she's so Amazonian, right? She's really tall. She has a very commanding presence. And the language.
There is
way
a
she
mystery.
Speaks, that's a mystery.
there's a mystery.
And I think for me, the idea of, if at all you have to talk about being like a star, that this whole idea of a persona larger than life, there has to be that. I shouldn't know everything because then I keep wanting to know more. And I think Tabu has that for me.
she still keeps that. वो वो automatically है उनमें.
Yeah, without being cold, she's very warm.
She's very fun to
very
be with.
fun
But
to be with. Yeah.
There's that mystery. There's something.
Yeah.
I would second that. I mean,
I would also
for me also.
अच्छा चलो, तुमने पहला वाला आंसर
So
दे
yeah,
दिया.
sorry. I was at screening, Kala screening, and I remember you saw me.
Yeah.
It's like a gravitational pull.
That's true.
Tabu is there. You just,
See, same,
she also
right?
knows.
That is- yeah,
Even
gone.
Tripti knows.
You
I
live
just
with her.
went, maneuvered myself around, and I just stood in front of Tabu and spoke in Hyderabadi with her, and then my life.
Yeah, there's a magnetic
Yeah.
pull. Like you find yourself suddenly, and then you're there, and then you have nothing. Like I couldn't say anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She is. Tripti?
I think for me that person has to be Rumi Jaffrey. He's so full of stories, and I met him briefly in Mussoorie while I was shooting.
Kaun?
Rumi Jaffrey.
Rumi Jaffrey.
He's
The writer, the filmmaker,
Yeah, and he's just too funny. And I was meeting him for the first time, but I felt like मैं बचपन से जानती हूँ उन्हें. इतने वो warm थे, and जो stories उन्होंने मुझे सुनाए, I don't think I can talk about those stories. Yeah. But yeah, he's the one.
Nice. Raj?
There are two people I would say. One is Shah Rukh sir, Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. I've never met anybody like him.
That's true.
The way he treats you, we all know him. I think just the greatest guy. I think we all love him. And another one, Irfan sir.
Yeah.
And I met him a lot of times when he was there. But I met him when during his last days in London. And then we met for lunch. Me, Anup Singh, Irfan sir, Shutapa ma'am. And I think those 2-3 hours I would always cherish, because that guy who knew, what was coming, and still the way he was portraying himself, and he was still so curious about things, about life. He wanted to travel, and he became very Sufi type, very Sufiana. And of course, I don't think so there would be another Irfan Khan ever in this country.
Yeah.
The biggest loss, I think, in the industry.
Gosh.
Yeah. Sorry, just to make it heavy, but yeah.
Nah, Irfan forever.
You made it real.
Yeah.
Shefali?
Mr. Bachchan.
Yeah.
One is, I'm completely in awe of him. And even the first time I met him, he treats you as an equal.
Yeah.
I remember once I was on the set of, I think, Aankhein, and I was sitting at the monitor, and Vipul, and he came, he saw the shot, and he walked away, and he came back, and he said, "What do you think of the shot?" I died.
Yeah.
I was like, you're pulling my leg, right? I mean, you can't ask me what I thought of your shot. But that's who he is.
Yeah.
And he has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I think he genuinely cares. He genuinely cares. And of course, I mean, what can I say about the actor
Work.
he is?
Yeah, just
Oof.
the work, yeah.
He's something else.
Yeah. My gosh, yeah. Rajeev?
मैं वेट कर रहा हूँ भाई कोई
अच्छा।
हाँ जी कोई ऐसा मिले
अच्छा. Karthik?
I think I'll again say Amitabh Bachchan sir and Shah Rukh sir. I think they really make you feel like you are the priority, or you are
Yeah.
they are, जब भी वो आपसे बात कर रहे हैं तो वो पूरी तरह से आप ही से बात कर रहे हैं. उनका ध्यान कहीं और, ये एक क्वालिटी मैंने दोनों लेजेंडरी एक्टर्स हैं एंड उनमें देखी है. जिस तरीके से वो आपके साथ रहते हैं, इट्स अनबिलीवेबल. एंड I think, I mean, also I would like to say that we are so lucky to be surrounded by so many, people who have...
iconic people, yeah.
they're iconic. And like Jackie Shroff sir की बात कर रहे थे, Vijay, या तब्बू मैम, या फिर अमित जी, या शाहरुख sir, all these people are just... They're iconic, and you imbibe a lot, you learn a lot from them. So yeah, all these people for me, मेरे लिए ऐसा कुछ ऐसे, I would say Imtiaz Ali sir also for me. He's someone who's so Sufi, so he has that aura around him. Whenever you, like, I really feel like मैं उनसे बस बात करता रहूं और सुनता रहूं.
You don't want him to stop.
You don't want him to stop.
आप बोलते
You
रहो.
want him to speak. बस बात करते रहो. So yeah.
Nice choices. Huh?
Jackie Shroff, I've already said here, because he's just a definition of effortlessly cool, man. Like, he doesn't try.
Real rock
He's just I remember seeing him on a red carpet once where it was a black tie event, and he's walked in ripped jeans, leather jacket, and a kala rumal over here. So they were like, "Sir, black tie, man. Bidu pehna to hai black tie." That's like, that's Jackie Shroff. The other person who I was very lucky to spend time with is Pankaj Tripathi on the sets of 83, and
बहुत बढ़िया आदमी है गुरु.
बहुत बढ़िया आदमी है. And like we were talking about social media and Instagram, and I asked him how he deals with it, and he said, एक बात याद रखना, चर्चित होने में और यादगार होने में जमीन आसमान का फर्क है. I was like, wow. Social media तुम्हें चर्चित कर देगा, पर performance यादगार. So I was like, that's the
Beautiful thing to say.
So, I want to ask all of you, there's a theory that you're defined by what you say no to, by the choices you don't make, or the choices you make when you're... How have those decisions sort of defined you in your career? Do you feel like you've had some good dodges, or that you've let go of things that...
So I should be null and void because I've said more no to, I've just said no all the time. And I don't regret it because I love what I do. So like, when you'd asked about the script, I instinctively and at that moment fall in love with it, or that I feel, okay, this one's not for me. And if it's not for me, I won't go and do it. I won't do enough justice to myself and neither to the director or the makers of the film. So, I mean, I have said no a lot.
A lot.
Me too, and I think I always go with my gut feeling. If upon reading the script, I don't feel like, oh God, this is something exciting, then I always say no. And I mean, it can, put you in trouble. But I feel that's okay. And जितनी भी बार मैंने ना बोला है, हमेशा result, मतलब I felt okay, ठीक है, अच्छा किया ना बोला. And because, मुझे लगता है अगर मैं half heartedly, जैसे मैंने पहले भी बोला था, half heartedly जाऊंगी, so there's no point in me doing that particular film, right? I can't waste anybody else's time. But yeah.
I think it's important to say no.
Yeah.
And also it's very tough to say no.
Yeah.
It is.
Sometimes because people take yes very happily, but no, they can't really digest sometimes. I've done that. I've done that to films which have ended up being one of the biggest successes of all times. And again, no regrets. Because as she was saying, there's no point doing something half-heartedly.
Right.
Because somebody said, Are ye chalega.
Yeah.
Like the pandemic has taught me I was never here to do things ki chalne ke liye. I started doing what I'm doing because I really fell in love with it. I really, as Chef Ali Ma'am was saying, I'm the happiest when I'm on set.
Yeah.
And that's everybody around me. They keep telling me that. So I think there's no point now. I've stopped thinking about क्या चलेगा, क्या नहीं चलेगा. इसमें बहुत मजा आएगा.
Right.
इससे बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा. इससे थोड़े ग्रोथ होगी एज एन एक्टर. और चल गया तो बहुत अच्छी बात है.
Right.
नहीं तो प्रोड्यूसर को तो नुकसान नहीं हो रहा है ना. हाँ नहीं हो रहा है. मैथ सही बैठ रही है. Let's do it. Yeah.
And I feel at times you can go wrong also. मतलब आपने किसी को मना कर दिया and the film
Turns
ends
out
up
to be,
being but it's okay because at the end of the day it was your decision.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
will
exactly.
only blame yourself and not anybody else.
Anyone else,
And
right.
that's always a good place to be in.
आई थिंक मेरे काफ़ी नोज किए मैंने और काफ़ी टाइमिंग भी गलत भी हुई है मेरी तो नो बोलने की तो वो सब भी हुआ है बट आई डोंट नो आई डोंट रिग्रेट माई डिसीजंस एंड आई थिंक जो भी है चाहे सही हुआ है लाइफ में चाहे गलत वो सारे डिसीजंस मेरे खुद के
Yeah.
सो आई एम प्राउड ऑफ दैट जर्नी देन इवन मोर बिकॉज उसमें किसी ने मुझ पे कुछ थोपा नहीं है
Correct.
सो दैट इज व्हाट वो मैटर करता है एट द एंड ऑफ द डे और या देयर हैव बीन इंस्टेंसेस जहाँ पे मैंने मना किए और हाँ शायद से फिल्म चल गई होगी या फिर लेकिन मुझे पता है कि वो शायद से मेरे साथ वो चीज़ नहीं करती या फिर वो भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती है जो इन्वॉल्व होती है हाँ मे बी आई वॉज नॉट राइट मे बी समवन एल्स डिड इट वेल एंड वो बहुत अच्छे होते हैं उस फिल्म में तो वो डिसीजंस भी बहुत कई बार ऐसे कैलकुलेशन एंड मैं बस उससे अपने आप को मोटिवेट ही कर सकता हूँ कि यार मैं जो कर रहा हूँ वो सही है अब अगर मैं अपने आप को भी सेल्फ डाउट करने लगूंगा तो दूसरा बिलीव करने से पहले रुक जाएगा अगर खुद ही करना छोड़ दूंगा
right.
तो ये सारे डिसीजंस का वही खेल है आई थिंक यस वी ऑल ऑफ अस आई थिंक वी से नो टू अ लॉट ऑफ स्टफ सो दैट जहाँ है हम वहाँ तक पहुँच पाएं एटलीस्ट
Anyone else wants to add?
I've said no to films that I did once, a film in which I had to depict a rape scene. And after I did that, I realized I'll never do it again. Because ये एक बलात्कार एक ऐसी चीज़ है that I don't think its representation is required in cinema unless it changes the way we look at the mind of the rapist. The fact that it's wrong, I don't need to see another film about it.
Right.
So unless it's from a point of view of restorative justice, what makes a person commit such a heinous crime? There's some understanding of the damage that was done that leads to such a... I will never, as an actress, and in that scene when I was doing it only, I was like, this is so wrong. I'm never going to do this again. And I was very young and I didn't realize that what I'm doing. But so there are some things, there are some films I got where I will also say no to if a minority community is represented in a bad way. Even if your character is really good, but you make the husband, he is drunk, he is not faithful, and he happens to be Muslim. it may seem like, but my part is fine and it's all great, but I think we can't be tone deaf. We have to know what's going on around us. And I think ये धीरे धीरे हो रहा है राजीव, to understand कि it's not about just मुझे पैसे अच्छे मिल रहे हैं कि नहीं, मेरा part अच्छा है कि नहीं. But I think what is the intention? And also now I've asked, what is the source of the money? Some of the dodgy private investors. And so yeah, I think these are some things as one is growing, one is learning to, and no is powerful, like what you said, Raj. To be able to say no is a very powerful thing. I've spent first 10 years being like, yeah, are you comfortable? Yeah. Andar se I'm not at all comfortable. Yes. But learning to say, no, I don't like it. So freeing. Sach bol diya, khatam. So that also, as you become more comfortable with yourself, then you can say it. So there are many things now that, but yeah, few ground rules that
Have been set, right?
Yeah.
Vijay?
I need to pee really bad.
Me too.
I have literally one question after this.
Say na what.
That was you saying no.
I have nothing to add.
Politely.
Rajeev, I think we need
break ले ले.
We have either one question, literally one question.
तो सबसे पहले आंसर दे दे.
बेचारा आंसर देख के चेहरे में नींद आ रही है.
एक ही क्वेश्चन रह गया.
Are you in very bad shape or should we do the last one?
He doesn't want to answer the question.
Should I give one really
या तो
long answer?
आंसर आएगा या तो पता नहीं.
You need to go.
No, I mean, so saying no is part of the job that we do actually.
Yeah.
Because it's just not the film. Sometimes within the shot, for a character, you're supposed to do something that you won't feel right. So learning to say no is the first skill set that you need to acquire once you start working as a professional actor. And you have to make peace with saying no. First with yourself and then learn how to communicate it as compassionately, as earnestly as you can.
Yeah.
And I've figured that people really get it if you come from the right place. Yeah. So और नो बोलने के बाद में जो उसका आउटकम होने वाला है वो मुझे पता ही नहीं
It's
है.
not your
तो मैं क्यों
control,
stress
yeah.
करूं?
Yeah.
नो बोलो, आगे बढ़ो. यस बोल के भी आगे बढ़ो.
Correct.
Move on to the next.
आगे बढ़ो.
Go to the
Rajeev?
next.
सही है भाई. नो मैं क्वेश्चन भूल गया जी सर.
नो बोले आपने मतलब कुछ.
नहीं उनका सवाल है कि नो बोलने से आपका
Yeah.
नहीं किसी को नहीं पता इधर इधर
नो बोला है. आपने नो बोला पिक्चरों को. पिक्चरों को मना किया है.
हाँ जी बहुत बारी मना किया है. बहुत ही बार मना ही किया है क्योंकि वो हमारे पंजाब वो ना दिल में ले जाते हैं बात.
बिल्कुल.
कि ये तू कैसे मतलब हमको
कभी रिग्रेट किया है नो करना?
नहीं वो तो डेस्टिनी है. मतलब वो शायद आप नहीं करते तो कोई और बंदा करता है वो अच्छा ही करता है. वो ऐसे ही होना ही होता है.
जी.
तो उससे ऐसे कोई वैसे तो नहीं फर्क पड़ता. लेकिन ऑब्वियसली क्योंकि जहाँ से मैं आता हूँ वहाँ से लोग पर्सनली बहुत अटैच होते हैं. तो वो फिर आपके पूरे क्राफ्ट को वैसे ही सोचते हैं. वो जो जैसे बोल रहे पाजी कि 80s में शायद हम थैंकफुल हम 80s में नहीं है लेकिन हम जहाँ से आते हैं वहाँ से लोग हैं कि वो पर्सनल ले जाते हैं हम बात. तो उस चीज़ के लिए नो बोलना ही पड़ता है.
आई थिंक वो एक अलग क्राफ्ट है टू से नो.
Tactfully ना?
बहुत टैक्टफुली कैसे नो बोलना. एंड समटाइम्स इट्स जैसे तिलोत्तमा ने बोला कि वो इट्स फ्रीइंग. सेइंग नो इज मतलब वो एक यू फील फ्री.
Correct.
बट हाँ इट्स अ क्राफ्ट. आई थिंक इट्स अ डिफरेंट ball game altogether because people when they're offering you something they have really invested a lot in it and they think कि that's the best product according to them. And तो उनके लिए सोचना ये थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो जाता है कि कोई नो बोल रहा है. So, yeah.
The only thing that I'm really mindful of when saying no, of course you have to say no, which is what everyone's agreed on, is to not keep. मैं बहुत धीरे धीरे बोल रहा हूँ.
धीरे धीरे बोलना थोड़ा और.
हाँ तो मैं बोल
48 फ्रेम्स पे चला.
सवाल क्या था?
मैं भी जब बोल रहा था मैं सोचा
उसका खुद का आंसर भी लंबा.
ख्याल दे रहे हैं. ठीक है करो खुद.
आपका खुद का आंसर भी
आपने फंसाया.
जी आपका आंसर भी लंबा था. जितनी दौर से इनको सुसु आया है इनका छोटा चाहिए था.
मैं भी वही सोचा
आंसर है ना. जितनी दूर से इनको सुसु आया इनका आंसर छोटा चाहिए था.
जितना इन्होंने इतना लंबा आंसर दिया.
I have to put my point across. यार, they wants to know.
पहला पॉइंट तो अच्छे से अक्रॉस किया.
Last one.
I was saying what I'm mindful of is don't keep the person waiting for too long.
Right.
If you're going to refuse it, what I try, and this comes from experience because I've been the person on the other side waiting.
Yeah.
And I know what waiting for a creative person feels like. So अगर मना करना भी है 2 दिन ले लो 3 दिन ले लो maximum 5 ले लो पर मना कर दो. Don't keep someone hanging for 3 months and then refuse it. Is all.
हाँ ये सही है.
So I
Speaking
wanna-
of waiting.
Speaking of waiting, I want to end by asking all of you this question. When a fan comes up to you, what is he or she most likely to say or to ask you, and what are they most likely to recognize you from?
छोटे बच्चे मेरे पास नहीं आते हैं. ठीक है, and I'm not complaining.
वेरी गुड यार.
एकदम छोटे बच्चों वाला छोटा सा जवाब दिया.
छेती जाके.
सोच रही हूँ.
Well, different people come for different things. Like some people really like Newton, some love like kids, and younger ones love Stree. Some like Gangs of Wasseypur also for some reason. कि शमशाद sir, शमशाद जो है ना, like अरे आपको याद है शमशाद? So I think different people come for different things. But I know that Badhai though, I've gotten a lot of love for Badhai though, especially from the people within the community and their families. And people who were trying to come out but didn't have that much strength. I think our film gave them that strength. So Badhai though also got me a lot of love.
Oh. Shefali?
I agree with Raj. I mean, they all people like different kind of stuff. I mean, some remember the first show I did, so that's it goes back to that.
Right.
And when you're traveling or you're meeting people from across the globe, then Delhi Crime is the one that because everyone's seen it and it's dropped on Netflix, etc., etc. But like for example, a lot of people, Dil Dhadakne Do is their go-to film.
Yeah.
When we want to just chill and have fun, we watch this film.
Yeah.
So it's various things, and either they ask you for a selfie, and I don't think they really are interested in anything besides just the selfie.
Right.
I don't. It's just like
Right.
Or then there are really some people who want to come and just appreciate
Sure.
or tell you how it's affected them in its own way. Yeah, but that's
pretty much it.
more like.
Okay. Tilottama?
It was Alice for 20 years. Alice for 20 years. And then Ratna, I think, from Sir. I think it's about numbers now, Rajeev.
Of course.
It just reached so many people that it became Ratna. And then Delhi Crime. I was in Delhi and buying kulfi. And these 3 guys were looking at me and I had a feeling that, they want to say something. And they were CBI officers. So they introduced him कि हम CBI से हैं. आया हूँ तो क्या? मैं ठंड है, कुल्फी ठंड है, मुझे ठंड लग रही है. मतलब, yeah, what did you say? नहीं, Delhi Crime. I was like, अच्छा. I was like such a relief because, but they said that they're CBI officers, but they found it, that part touched them, and they were scared of Lata. So I was like, good, be scared. And so that was a nice interaction and unusual to have these CBI officers come up to you and scare you, and then for you to realize, oh, it's the work. Yeah.
Tahir?
Again, different people for different things. Mardani is the most often, this thing, kids come for Chichore, and most recently, Ye Kali Kali Aankhein.
Of course.
Yeah.
Rajeev?
ऐसे फैंस मुझे लगता है एक कमाल की उनकी दुनिया है.
जी.
आप सब हम काम कर रहे हैं अपने लिए, अपने क्राफ्ट को दिखाने के लिए. आप हमको गाना भी बनाते हैं या शोज भी करते हैं, लेकिन उनको पर्सनली कुछ चीज़ ऐसी नहीं मिल रही है कि उनकी लाइफ उस चीज़ से आगे बढ़ रही है. आप वो एंजॉय कर रहे हैं, लेकिन कैसे वो आपके बारे में सोचते हैं, आपके लिए पेज बनाते हैं, आप पे बात करते हैं, और ये कमाल की दुनिया है उनकी एक. और मैं तो अमेज होता हूँ उनको देख के कि यार ये बंदे, इनको कुछ नहीं लेना देना, पर्सनली भी नहीं शायद कभी मिल पाएंगे, या कोई शायद एक फोटो सेल्फी तो मतलब हाँ, ये कैसे अपनी लाइफ डेडिकेट कर रहे हैं
जी.
वो उस चीज़ को एंजॉय कर रहे हैं. तो ये एक अलग दुनिया है, फैंस की एक अलग दुनिया है. बहुत बड़ी बात है किसी को ऐसे बिना जाने इतना प्यार करना, बड़ी बात है।
बट पाजी आई वांट टू टेल यू वन थिंग कि मेरी शादी पे मैं और पता लगा जब 1 साल पहले हमारी शादी हुई।
अच्छा, वो
आपका जो लवर गाना है ना,
अच्छा जी।
वो 3 दिन हमने इतना पागलपन वाला डांस किया। मतलब मैं एक कोने में होता था, पत्रा एक कोने में होती थी, अगर वो बजा दिया डीजे ने तो हम एक दूसरे को कहीं ना कहीं से ढूंढ ही लेते थे कि ये तो अपना गाना है यार, इसमें तो हम डांस करेंगे साथ। तो थैंक यू पाजी।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर।
Gypsy?
I think I got a lot of love post Bulbul and very recently I was shooting in Meghalaya. I was there for a day and वहाँ पे I wasn't expecting कि किसी ने देखा होगा या होता है ना, you don't expect, it was a village area.
Correct.
And one girl walked up to me. She didn't ask for a picture, nothing. She just started talking to me about the film and what an impact it had on her personal life, and that just felt so amazing. And Laila Majnu bhi, matlab, it's been 4 years now. It came out in I think 2018. Record है आज तक. Every day I get messages from people for that particular film. Every single day. एक भी दिन ऐसा नहीं है जिस दिन मुझे लैला मजनू के लिए कोई मैसेज नहीं आया होगा.
It's going to be Kala for a while now. What a phenomenal performance.
Thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Karthik? Now it must be all rhubarb, no?
थैंकफुली मतलब मुझे ऐसा जिस तरीके का फ़ैन लव अब तक मिला है वो बहुत अनप्रेसिडेंटेड सा, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है। और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जिस तरीके की एक लॉयल फ़ैन बेस बहुत मुश्किल से बनती है। एंड मुझे लगा वो सोनू से बहुत ज़्यादा स्टार्ट हुआ था, सोनू के टीटू की स्वीटी से। तब पहली बार लोगों को मेरा एक्चुअल में नाम पता चला। उसके पहले वो मोनोलॉग वाला लड़का, वो लंबे डायलॉग बोलता है वो वाला लड़का, तो वैसे चलता रहता था। बट सोनू के टीटू की स्वीटी घरों तक पहुंची और वहाँ से वो एक फ़ैन फॉलोइंग, फ़ैन बेस पूरा एक चालू हुआ। एंड उसके बाद ऑफ कोर्स लुका छुपी, पति पत्नी, लेकिन अब जाके भूल भुलैया ने तो कुछ अलग ही लेवल का एक वो यूफोरिया क्रिएट किया, विच आई एम लकी टू हैव दैट। एंड मैं बहुत बार ये चीज़ बोला, आई एम अ फैन ऑफ माई फैंस। क्योंकि जिस तरीके से, जैसे पाजी अभी बोल रहे थे कि वो जो एक अनकंडीशनल लव उनकी तरफ से आता है, आपके पोर्ट्रेट्स बनाते हैं, आपको लुभाना चाहते हैं, आपसे बात, एक बार आपकी आंखों, एक बार आपका एक गेज उन पे आ गया तो वो खुश हो जाते हैं। सो it's unreal, that love. And I think मुझे सबसे ज़्यादा सपोर्ट मेरे फैंस ने किया है आज तक। सो आई होप कि मैं भी उनको ऐसे एंटरटेन करता रहूँ आगे तक। बट इट्स रू बाबा नाउ, या।
Well, to all of you, may that love, may that fan following increase. Thank you so much for this. But first, really, thank you for those wonderful performances that that brought joy in our lives. Some of them broke our hearts, but in a positive way, made us think, made us feel. Thank you for improving our lives through your art. It's such a gift. Thank you for really entertaining us and for making us think, for bringing happiness into our lives. May you continue to do what you do. May you continue to soar. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.